I'm so excited to interview you.
I'm so excited to be here.
Emmy, I was just looking at your IMDb.
Oh.
I was looking at your YouTube channel.
Ooh.
You've been in this.
I've been around.
You've been around.
Yeah.
And I was just watching some things and I realized there was a cruise commercial.
Oh my God.
That I know I saw.
Wow.
10 years ago.
Wow.
And you were in it.
Yeah. That was an insane experience because I had been living in New York for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I had gone in for that casting 2 days before Sandy hit.
Oh.
And so I was in the casting and they were like, do you have a current passport? And I lied. I totally lied because everyone was like, you just go to the New York consulate and like you get one in 8 hours. It's like not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. I'm sorry to everyone who's listening to this that was associated with that. You're going to hear the behind the scenes story. But
yeah.
So I lied. I said I had a current passport and I booked it.
Yeah.
And I was like, great.
Yeah.
And then the next day,
Shut up.
Sandy hit.
Yeah.
And all of Lower Manhattan was literally underwater and the office was completely closed.
Yeah.
And I, of course, was scrambling to figure out not only how to get my passport, I didn't have time for it to be delivered to my house. I had to have it delivered to my hotel in Fort Lauderdale where, thank God, we were doing like preliminary shots and I was staying in a hotel there. So I like found a company on the internet that did rushed passports. I think it was $500.
Oh my gosh.
I had it rush delivered to my hotel in Fort Lauderdale and it arrived in time and we boarded the boat the next day and it was like by the skin of my teeth. By the
Were you
skin
totally
of my
stressed?
teeth. I was like beside myself. I could not sleep. I was fully freaking out.
So you're an actress.
I am an actress.
You are. Like when I looked up your, I just Googled you. First of all, you have very good SEO. You come up.
Oh my gosh, tell me everything.
You come
I
up
should
right
probably
away.
know.
Like,
okay, good.
like I typed in your name and it was just like Emmy Harrington. Like it was just like
Right.
right there. Your website came up, which is really good. Like,
Thank you.
My name is funny because Ben Hawes is pretty unique. But there's a state park in Kentucky that I'm trying to beat.
Okay.
And then there's a British soccer player named Ben Hawes.
Okay, that's kind of a big deal. I mean, the park is like chill for America.
Yeah.
But like that, there's another celebrity out there.
He's out there.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far into his career he is. I'm hoping like toward the end.
Yeah.
And then there's like a British politician from like the 1800s named Ben Hawes. Yeah, so I feel very British.
Do you know anything about them? About what they were like
Googled
up
them.
to? Okay. Been a minute.
No, I the soccer player. All I've seen is just like he's just a soccer player. So I've just seen like pictures of him
Nice
playing
calves.
soccer. Yeah, yeah. And then there's like a British politician. Everybody's gonna go Google Ben Hawes after this.
Yeah,
But like,
I'm gonna Google him too.
I don't know enough about like 1800s British.
I mean, I guess that's what
politics.
I'm asking of you is like, like I think it is important to know your SEO and to be like, this is the only other parallel path.
Yeah.
And like, hopefully his politics were good, but like that time period is
Or totally opposite.
Yeah,
you
can be
know?
like this terror.
Yeah.
And I'm so superior to this terror.
But I was definitely Googling you. I looked up your IMDb. You have some really fun things you've done.
Yeah, I've done fun things.
And
there was a period where I would like go to IMDb Pro and like type in the letters of my name and like see how fast I came up.
Oh,
like,
I do that.
Anybody else came up before me.
Yeah.
And for a very long time, it was just Emmy Lou Harris.
Oh.
Emmy Lou Harris comes up.
Yeah.
Not Emmy,
That's a big
not
name.
Emmy Rossum first. I guess because of the Harrington, maybe people think.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. But
well, I do that on Instagram because I just want. When I ask people to follow me, I like spell it out. And I'm like L-A. So how long have you been in New York? How long have you been at it? Like you've been.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's sometimes I have people on my podcast who like have videos from like 6 months ago and that's it. And then sometimes I have people who you have some videos from like 10 years ago.
I'm actually a person who like if you wanted to, you could make me feel weird by like my old YouTube videos.
Oh,
for sure.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Because like I put them up there and then I'm like, do I take these down? I'm like, I guess I could take them down, but then there's
it's
kind
so
of like
hard
I'm not
to know.
replacing them, so I want my SEO to stay high.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so I grew up in San Diego.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, super cool. And I was very lucky in that like we had a dear family friend who was part of the La Jolla Playhouse. I'm sorry, not La Jolla Playhouse. There was a program at the Old Globe Theater in San Diego.
Yeah.
It was like a young playwrights program that was run by this woman named Deborah Salazar, who is incredible, that I want to circle back to because I have an amazing story about her.
Okay.
She basically did this outreach program where she would like go into high schools and have these youth write plays.
Wow.
And then like they would have contests, and then the winners would actually be produced at the Old Globe Theater, which is a big fucking deal. Like
That's
it's
a
a
huge
huge
deal.
regional theater.
Yeah.
And a dear friend of ours from our Unitarian church won the contest one year, and she had written a one-woman show about this teenage girl who was like a total loner and really isolated and struggling with a lot of that like adolescent upbringing. And I had never auditioned for anything before. I was like in choir. I knew I loved to perform. I was a total ham, but I hadn't really done anything, and had also been chronically shy in the earlier parts of my life. So I'm like, you know, I'm 12, I'm 13, and I like go in and audition for this play, and I book this play. And because of the subject matter, because it was like about how hard it is for kids, like it ended up getting all of this press. I mean, maybe also because I was good. Maybe. We don't, like, we'll never know.
Wait, but you were the one woman?
I was the one. So I also had this crazy experience where I was like working really closely with this director, Courtney Cox. And
Courtney Cox?
No. A different.
A different Courtney
yes,
Cox. Okay.
A different.
I was like, wow, that's a different.
Yes.
But it's a different Courtney Cox.
Yes. Totally. And she, like, I had this incredible experience where I was like working with her so tightly to create this story, and like basically no set, like basically just me in a bed, and the whole show opened with Baba O'Reilly by The Who, which was so fun. And it was an insane experience to like have that particular like opening to my world of creativity, and imagine a ton of imagination in the show. Like the character Tulip is like really imaginative, and so
how
I
old
just
were
got
you in
really
this?
lucky. 13.
Wow. And so how in depth was the performance? Was it something that you did multiple times?
Yeah, so
did you take off any school or anything like that?
I had to take off very limited school for rehearsals.
Yeah.
We ran for I think 2 or 3 weeks with like maybe 5 performances a week. And then it was really interesting. There was like there was sort of a return to this performance a couple of times because it was like highlighted in the San Diego Tribune.
Yeah.
I also performed it at like another high school when they were trying to raise awareness around like bullying in adolescence.
Oh, yeah.
Which was super strange to like wander into like these big high schools and be like, oh God, I'm like on stage by myself.
And your high school age.
Yes.
Yeah, that's so weird.
I was so fresh. And then there was also at the La Jolla Playhouse, there was this one sort of like evening with Edward Albee.
Yeah.
Which like, I was so young. I was like, I don't even know who this guy.
Yeah.
I had no idea the reverence that I should have been scared. But I like was like me and him on stage, like doing this like moderated Q&A, and I performed a section of the show, and like he was they were talking about his works, and it was just so. It was such a random opportunity, and so cool. I was so lucky.
So I'm sitting here with my first child star.
I guess so.
You were a child star.
But then I kind of like went downhill, and now I'm back up.
Well,
again.
that's what child stars do.
I'm back from sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you.
And so when did you move to New York?
So yeah, I actually moved to New York after I went to college. So
Okay.
I lived in LA for a number of years.
Yeah.
And then I was doing a ton of stand-up in LA because I couldn't get a job. So I was like,
can?
I know what I'll do.
Yeah.
I'm so funny. I'll go and do stand-up, and like I'll spend my entire life at the Comedy Store.
Oh my gosh.
I'll spend like all of my time drinking and trying to talk to people and like trying to be funny. And then I'd come to New York to do shows. I got booked on shows in New York and moved here.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I can't do every night. I can't do all the time.
Yeah.
So I started getting more into like storytelling.
Yeah.
And more variety style stuff.
Yeah.
And I built out my network and was like doing more TV and film,
Yeah.
comedy, which I really loved.
That's really good. I watched your comedy reel on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
I was actually laughing.
Oh,
like,
really?
I actually laughed like a few times because, you know, today I will say I was really tired. I slept until 1 p.m. Mom, that was fake. I feel like my mom, every time I sleep until 1 p.m., I'm like, my mom is going to be so ashamed if she finds out. But it's fine.
But isn't that, I truly believe beauty rest is a thing.
Like, and I took a red eye yesterday.
Oh my gosh,
wait,
then that doesn't even count.
No, yesterday though. So
Doesn't
today's the
matter.
second day.
Doesn't matter. You're coming from California.
Yeah,
Wait, where
right.
in California are you from? Have you ever talked about this?
I am from Northern California.
Okay.
I'm from the East Bay.
Okay.
And I was actually just there, and I did a performance. I did like a homecoming performance.
I love.
It was really fun. So for anybody who's watching who hasn't seen me before, I do musical comedy on the guitar, and I texted a few friends, and I was like, "Do you guys know of anywhere that I could just do like a show in the Bay Area, maybe like Oakland or wherever?" And nobody had any ideas.
Okay.
Like, because it wasn't comedy friends. It was just like friends from high school and college
it's like
and whatever.
People you know.
Yeah, it's like they were like
from when you were a child.
and they were like, I know this bar, but I don't know if like no one knows anything. So I mentioned it to like maybe 2 or 3 friends, and on the night before I was leaving for California, my friend's cousin messaged me and said, Renee was telling me that you want to do a show while you're home, which was the next day. And she was like, there's this gay bar that I'm friends with the owner, and they do shows. Like, maybe I can get you some stage time. So we made it happen, and I did like a 25-minute set in the middle of a drag show in my hometown.
Literal perfection.
It was the ultimate perfect thing.
Oh my gosh.
I texted everybody I knew back there, and I was like, so I'm having a show tomorrow night, like 24 hours from now. And I got like 20 people to show up.
Amazing.
Like between like my friends, they all brought their spouse or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I did a really good job, and it was really fun.
I'm
so then
so happy for you.
What's really funny about that is that somebody that I went to high school with was there and helps coordinate the Pride event in my hometown.
Shut up.
And was like, you should do Martina's Pride.
Oh
like,
my
you
God.
should come do our Pride thing in September. And I was like, absolutely.
Yes.
And just think how like full circle that is. To
full
grow
circle,
up.
but also like the ease.
I know, but I just imagine I'm gonna get emotional on stage and just be like, it's at my hometown, like waterfront, like whatever, September, and I just imagine like this town that I grew up in and struggled so much with my sexuality to then go and perform at Pride. I'm just like, that is, I needed 3 therapy sessions just to talk about that. Yeah, which is good because I have them.
And it's gonna be like its own therapy.
Yeah, I know.
I think that's amazing.
I know. I'm really excited. I'm really excited about it. But anyway, yes, I'm from Northern California, and I just got back and I took a red eye 2 days ago.
I can't get over this story. How like
it was
just
easy.
like sending. I love.
It was good.
Just think like sometimes the real breakthroughs actually can feel easy, and it's so important to notice this.
Yes, I totally agree. Sometimes when you're struggling and like pushing, it's the hardest ever, but it's not going to work out. And then sometimes you just do something easily, and people are like, "Oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that?" It's really crazy. Yeah. So we should talk about SCORE.
Great, let's talk about SCORE.
I want to talk about SCORE, which is happening when.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah.
The 31st of July. Yeah. It happens at Caveat. We have like basically bi-monthly shows with them. If you haven't been to Caveat, you need to come to Caveat.
Yeah,
Caveat
it's really good.
Rules. They do a great job managing the space. It's beautiful. It's clean. It's air conditioned. They've got food.
Do you do the live streaming? Or do you
I do
just
the
do
live
in person?
stream. I do the live stream. The live stream rules because they have an incredible live stream team.
Yeah.
Like, it is great. We've got multiple angles. We got the audience. We got the zoom in. We got the like in real time edit, but then you can watch it for a week. Yeah. You can literally watch it anytime. So like you can't stay up late. You can't make it. Like you literally watch it over breakfast.
And I watched Sean Cantatori's live stream while I was in California. Yeah. Did you go to her show?
I didn't know she had a live stream. I couldn't go on Saturday.
Yeah, she had a live stream.
Damn
and it was really good.
It
felt like I was watching.
I think her link might actually still be live. I think they leave the link live for like 3 days.
Yeah, I think so because I wanted to watch it on the plane and it was just too much internet.
I'm gonna check when I leave.
But it was really a good show and the live stream. So if you're out there thinking I'm not in New York, I can't come to SCORE. Yeah, live stream. It's like you're watching like the Grammys or something like that. No. Like it's taped
Kennedy
like that.
Center Honors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kennedy Center Honors.
It's definitely Kennedy Center Honors.
It's also kind of primed for being watched like that because there are these dance segments. Yes. It's not just a person standing on stage. Yes. You know, because I honestly, when I've watched streams before or when they were really part of my life in the 20s, we'll say the pandemic times. Yeah. It is hard to stay focused, but I think the fact that there's like movement involved and there's music,
it's
a
whole production.
I mean, Sean's show is the same way. It's like,
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I've come to your show one time before and I loved it, and I sat right in the front. And it's really a creative idea. It's just like you're talking about movies. People are watching movies. You invite comics to come out and do a performance based on the movie that I think you assigned to them, right?
So I always pick the films.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, I'll be like, this person has to do this movie.
Yeah.
Most of the time, though, it is first come, first serve.
Oh.
So when those movies are locked in, it's literally like, I'm sending you this message. It's first come, first serve. Like, who wants this film?
Yeah.
And then, that individual gets assigned that film. They watch that movie.
Yeah.
They get 8 minutes of stage time to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people do the, like, sort of hot takes. Here's what you didn't realize.
Yeah.
Watching this movie again as an adult, like, perspectives.
Yeah.
I've had people do characters.
Yeah.
I've had people do, like, Bobby Hankinson.
Yeah, I know him.
Who we love.
Yeah.
Bobby Hankinson did Inception, and he did this incredible, like, in real time timeline. So he was like moving around the stage, sort of showing where you were in the plot. And I was like, this is genius. And only like a truly intelligent comedian would think of doing this, which is why I love conceptual Bobby Hankinson. Yeah. And I just want more from him. But yeah, that was like a really interesting take. Katie Hartman, she's doing Backdraft with her husband, David Carl, who, if you don't know, David is like, they're both hysterical. They actually have an incredible show that has like 3 more performances before the end of August called David and Katie Get Remarried.
Oh, that's funny. That's a good title.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it for many, many years. And then they actually got married, which was super funny because then it was like they were doing it before they were even dating.
Yeah.
And now they're like actually married. Anyways, she years ago oh man, I'm sorry, Katie, if I'm misremembering, but I think that she did Fried Green Tomatoes.
Oh my gosh.
And she did like this Southern character and had like this whole, it was great.
So how do you pick the movies? Because you love movies, I can tell.
Yes.
You love the whole reason it's called Score is because
of the scores.
Yes.
So it's actually, yes, I love these movies, but like I can't without a score.
Yeah.
I can't without a score. And I actually have I'm having a little bit of a hard time with The Birdcage, which I'm doing because it actually has no score. It technically has a soundtrack.
Okay.
But some of the soundtrack is like instrumental pieces from La Cage aux Folles.
Okay.
So that's useful. But like normally that would be like a no-no. But 45 people have asked me to do Birdcage.
Yes.
So at a certain point I was like, okay, like I'll do it.
They must think it has a score.
Everyone thinks everything has a score.
Yeah, right.
And then you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is not a great score. Or you listen to it and you're like, wow. Like John Williams did the score for Backdraft, and I wouldn't pick that movie.
Yeah.
Except that John Williams did the score, and it's so good.
So what made you think of the show? How long have you been doing it?
Because
that's the other thing that I like about it.
Such a great origin. Yeah.
That's the other thing I love about it is it's been going on for a long time. So it's been like, it seems like you found something that works. You found something that you love doing.
Yes.
And you're sticking with it. And you've done it, and it's popular, and people know what it is.
I'm glad you think it's popular.
Well, the time I went.
No, it's people who love it.
Everybody I tell about it knows about it.
Love it. And people who come to the show love it.
Yeah.
But it is interesting, like, to get people to come out to something that features interpretive dance, because they don't know what's going to go on.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is so these comedians talk about the films.
Yeah.
Then I perform interpretive dances to the film's scores.
But they're even more than interpretive
they are.
dances.
It's like I have to call it interpretive dance, but what
it's an interpretive
it's
just
a capsule.
Performance.
It's like a capsule of culture.
Yeah, right.
It's wigs on wigs. It's camp. It's so camp.
Yeah.
It also it is the farthest thing from being serious.
Yeah.
And it's very serious.
Absolutely.
It's really, So it started, we listened to a lot of movie scores growing up. And at some point around the dinner table, there was like a number of CDs of like cinema's greatest hits.
Yeah.
And we would play them. And then the first person who could guess it would like get a point. So that's kind of like how it was introduced.
Is that your family?
Yes.
Wow.
My family loves movies.
Yeah.
My family loves movies. Both my parents are big movie heads.
Yeah.
So it was like we grew up on Hans Zimmer and John Williams and Edward, all of them.
Yeah.
And then my family threw these holiday variety shows like in our backyard. So we would do like sort of lip sync performances to Cher and little monologues. My mom would like live perform a piece from The Sound of Music, and I one year decided that I was going to do an
Yes.
interpretive dance to the score of Jurassic Park, which is my
Wow.
all-time favorite film.
Yeah.
And so I I went to a thrift store and found like a black leotard.
Of course.
And I got a couple props. I got a flashlight and like a metal spoon for the,
Yeah.
for the raptor
Yeah.
scene. And I memorized a piece of the monologue about before you even thought you could, you didn't know if you should.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like walking over to the stage and I like pulled out a pair of clippers and like pulled off to, you know what an elephant ear plant is? It's like a very tropical, it
I
looks
don't know.
very
Yeah.
prehistoric.
Yes, right. Yeah.
I like cut off 2 pieces of this palm frond and like I just
Oh my
did all
gosh.
of this interpretive dance with these palm fronds, and then I had the flashlight, and then I had it was just wild.
I would love
and
if you
people
were in my
died.
family.
People died.
Yeah.
They loved it.
And what do you mean your family would have a variety show?
It's
That is so
yeah.
funny because I had shows. I was the only one in my family who was participating in the shows in the backyard. And I recently...
we did that too. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I had plenty of solo shows with
But what do
zero
you,
audience.
so it sounds like there was a stage.
Well,
did it happen at the house?
At my childhood home, there was like a set of steps that came off a set of French doors in the back of the house.
We had that too.
Yeah. So
and
that
I
was
used that
the
as a stage. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
was the stage. It
Yeah.
was a bit of a proscenium. And now it's gotten like such a following in my hometown, and it's neatest that a dear friend of ours who has a nice big backyard is also an architect. Thank you, Katie Rainier and Ben.
Yeah.
Erected a stage, and they like host like 100 freaking people in their backyard.
And do you still do this?
I always do a score dance,
Yeah.
especially because now I have so many to choose from. I
Yes.
do one every year.
Yeah.
I do one every year. The ones that I've brought home, I always bring home my favorites. So like some of my all-time favorites are The Fugitive.
Yeah.
That was a really special
Yeah.
time. What did I do most recently? I did Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
That was that score is insane.
Yeah.
That score is insane, and like all of like like capturing the dust storm with like props was so fun.
Yeah.
I did what's this Diane Keaton movie where she plays JC Wyatt? What's it called? Baby Boom.
Oh, yes.
That was one of my recent ones.
You
that
came
has
up with that fast.
That was a really great all the scores are different, but like
Yeah.
the 80s scores, like I just did Tootsie at the last show. You were there.
That was my favorite one.
That score is like
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's so like synthy
Yes.
and weird.
Yeah.
And then you couple that with like a John Williams. It's like dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun,
Yeah,
It's just weird.
I love it. I think it's so creative, and like I've been thinking, so I've been on my own comedy journey. Really started when I turned 30. So obviously, I've always been doing.
Late is better.
I know.
Oh,
I've
God.
always been doing comedy, internet, podcasts, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. But when I turned 30, I was like, I am going to perform on stage. And I'm going to do I started with stand up, and then I realized I should be having the guitar on stage and doing songs.
Oh my God, if you can play.
I know,
Hello?
right. Well, I was telling my friend Kelly, I was like, stand up is fun, but I also want to go and sing. And she was like, well, look for an open mic that's like musical open mic. So I
Yeah.
Googled musical open mic, and one came
Yeah.
up, and I went just to, and you just go to see it before you
Yeah.
perform. And I was like,
gotta
this
get
is
the feel.
perfect because it was music, comedy, and poetry. And I was like, hello, I can do all of that.
Yeah.
And so I would go pretty much for my first year, I went every week to this open mic in the Lower East Side.
Yeah.
And I would do music, comedy, and poetry, and
Love it.
comedic poetry sometimes, and stuff but sometimes I did straight up meaningful, nice poetry. But when I started doing the guitar, I realized I should be doing this, and this is what I want to do
That's
for
my
the next few
thing.
years. This is my niche, this is my thing, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that, and so basically I turned 32 in June, so I've been kind of at it, really
Happy
performing.
birthday.
Yeah, my very belated birthday. Well, it's not that belated. What's today?
it's not that
The
belated.
24th.
Yeah.
I always say my birthday month goes for the 30 days before my birthday and the 30 days after my birthday.
Well, exactly. So we're actually only 3
Yeah.
weeks out from your birthday.
Exactly.
I'm saying.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, what's
right,
the-
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
hello.
exactly. So, but it's been about 2 years, and now I feel like I'm ready to produce my own show. I want to have the Ben Hawes musical comedy,
Highly
whatever.
recommend.
And I was actually thinking a lot about your show because it has a hook. I think it really is marketable
thank
because
you.
you can say, this is my show, this is what it's about, this is what I do. If you're into it, come. Whereas a lot of times with shows, it's I'm just doing a show, and
Yeah.
it's a lineup of these people, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what could be my shtick, like what
Yeah.
could be my thing? And I was using ChatGPT to like brainstorm, where you can be like, I tell
Sure.
ChatGPT like, ask me questions that will help you guide me, and so it'll say like, well, what I say
Coach
like,
me.
I want it to be about me, like I want it to be about like the name of it to be something about like
Yeah.
me in my childhood or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I was telling ChatGPT, my friend, all about like how I loved like doing circuses in my backyard at home when I was growing up, and like I was in gymnastics, and so I would always like, I would be like, okay, now I'm on the trampoline, and I would do like backflips and stuff, and then I would like do a dance or something
Yeah.
to like whatever, and I would like be a clown. I would like paint my face, and like I was just really into the
love
circus.
it.
So I'm like thinking maybe something around that, but I don't want to like have it where only the advertising is circus themed, and then I come out and
want
I'm
it to
not circus
feel-
themed.
yeah.
So I'm just like thinking about it, but I really like how your show is like score, and that's what it is, and it's kind of a shtick, and it's
Yeah.
a genre, and it's a theme. I really like it.
Yeah. Thank
Do you feel that when you tell people, like they're like, oh, okay?
People
Yeah.
love it
Yeah.
when I tell them.
Yeah.
Especially because everyone gets excited that there's one film that really resonates for them. Like, and that's different for everyone.
Yeah.
Jimmy Schatz, who hosts the show, has been begging me for Stepmom.
Yeah.
90% of the audience will not have seen it, but it doesn't
Yeah,
matter
it
because
doesn't.
for Jimmy, and the score is really good. The
Yeah,
score is John Williams.
yeah.
So it doesn't matter. And I love that movie.
Yeah.
I grew up on that unbelievably tear-jerky movie.
Yeah.
But everybody has something that they're like, oh man, like that movie is for me.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that
That was
line
Tootsie
really
for me.
got me. Yeah.
Tootsie, I was like, that.
Oh.
I love that movie.
Yeah. I try to pick movies where I feel like that.
How did you pick Jimmy Schatz, who the audience knows because he's a
Jimmy.
double
Jimmy.
guest? How did you pick him to
Oh
be the
my
host
gosh,
for your
my
show?
angel. Okay, so Caroline Moore.
Mm.
I hope you're listening. Caroline Moore was a fabulous woman that I met in this person, Liz Kimball's women's creative group.
Okay.
She is an amazing pop culturist. She had a show that ran at, where did it run? Why can't I remember where it ran? It ran downstairs at a venue.
Uh-huh.
She had a PowerPoint show called Power Pop.
I've heard of
and it was
this.
all like pop culture, and she was amazing, and she was like really into costumes and really into cinema, and she
Yeah.
had like just like great command. I met her and was like, will you host this show? And so she hosted it for years.
Yeah.
And then she stopped being able to host it, and Jimmy had been on the show.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're the one.
Yeah.
Like, you are one of the only people I can think who like actually is good at this. And then he came up with the idea of doing all this trivia,
Right.
which totally ties the whole thing together.
He's
so
so
there's
good at
like
trivia.
these prizes, this trivia. He's so into movie quotes, like he comes from the fabric.
Yeah.
And he's fabulous. And then now Kayla Berry, who's
Mhm.
also such a culture head,
Yes.
has come on as our producer. So
Yes.
it's like I actually have found folks who are just
a
so
little
thrilled.
team.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So that's how I found Jimmy. People who come to the show absolutely love it.
Yeah.
But it's like hard to get people to come to shows.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk. I think
I
let's
was
just
because
be
you're
candid.
in the mode, right? Because
I'm in
you
mode.
are trying to get people to come to your show.
People are so excited.
I
and
will
then their
tell
seat is
you,
empty, and I'm like, what
this is
happened to
another
you?
area that you are a role model for me. And I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
I remember the first time I met you.
Okay.
I think it was at one of Jimmy's
It
shows.
was. I remember.
You remember it too.
distinctly.
And
You were sitting in the second row.
yeah, we were sitting right there
Next to the
and you
piano.
handed me your matches.
Oh yeah.
And you had matches that just had, I think, just your Instagram or a logo.
I think it's just my email address.
Your
It's
email
like not
address?
even my Insta.
Well, somehow I thought they were right there.
I have them. I mean, they're right here.
You keep them with you everywhere you go.
Of course.
Yeah.
They're my business card.
Well,
I can't
it
leave
just
home without
it
them.
inspired me so much because you just have a box of matches. They say your
true.
information,
Yeah.
and you handed them to me, and I was like, "This is literally brilliant." And I think you're a marketing person.
I am a marketing
Yeah.
person. Well, okay. Here
You're
are my
finding them?
matches. Yeah, sorry.
Yes,
it took me a
there
second.
are.
Here they are.
Yeah.
Necessity is the mother of all invention.
Yes.
And
Yes.
marketing
see them?
oneself, of course, you can keep them. Put them in
Oh,
your bathroom.
perfect.
Think of me when you take your next.
Yes,
You know.
I will. Oh, it has your name
It's
and your email.
my name and my email and my
your,
photo.
And your Instagram is basically just your
the
name, right?
Emmy Harrington.
Yeah.
Or the Emmy Harrington. I've been
Depending
trying to
on
figure
how you
out.
say it.
Well, I've been like trying to write a joke about this because it's like the only the only like British word I say is the instead of the. I like
right.
walk around saying the, but then when I'm giving out my Instagram handle, I'm like
Oh, interesting.
The Emmy Harrington.
Yeah.
I guess
Luckily,
that's how you would
people know
say
how to
the
spell it
one.
either way.
She's the one.
Yeah, right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So like, I desperately needed and wanted to distinguish myself in a sea of human beings.
Yes.
Who are trying to be actors.
Yeah.
And honestly, I started doing it when I was living in Los Angeles because I felt like I was forgettable. Like I just felt like every casting director, every agent that I tried to like look at me twice was just not having it. And it was extremely discouraging.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of like marketing materials.
Yeah.
I was constantly doing marketing materials and like trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
To be like, look at me.
What would you make?
Well,
back then,
like I had like a small part in True Blood, like very small part, but I was dating a photographer at the time, and like we just did a vampire shoot for fun, and then it was like I had marketing materials that were very vampire-y, and they sort of looked like they came out of an HBO promotional package, but they didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. That's cool.
Yeah, it was convenient.
And having a photographer boyfriend is really nice.
It was really nice, actually. Honestly, like I have a lot of photographs of me from that period of time. And of course, at the time I was like, oh, and I was living in LA. I was like, I'm fat. I have acne.
Yeah.
I didn't like, anything about how I was presented. And now I look at them and I'm like,
you were knocked out.
I probably should have had better representation. But yeah, I was really working, and my site was like, and this was also, I mean, like we had social media, not to age myself, but
right? Of course,
we had social media, but it was like there were only so many channels that you could be like presenting yourself. Oh, the number of pieces of mail that I donated to our postal system in an attempt to reach casting directors.
Mailing list?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Mailing list, postcards, 4 times a year at the least. Anytime I had a show.
Yeah.
I had general postcards when I was doing all this stand up. I had general postcards that I would have all my dates. They would go to all the reps.
Yeah.
And then I moved to New York and I got signed with everyone right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, this was the answer.
You're a New York
all
girl.
along.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And so when did you start doing the matches? They're so cool. Is this like something you've been doing forever?
2009 or 10?
Wow. Is it the same design?
Maybe 2010.
Okay.
No, the design has evolved. It started as a fold
so
over
cool.
instead of a box.
Oh, yeah.
So we really classed it up with the box.
You really
because,
did.
Well, the thing was I had the fold overs and they would get really banged up or like in my bag.
Yeah,
and I was like, I'm not going to carry around like a case for my business cards.
Yeah.
So then I was like, this is better.
I'll show you after this, but you inspired me. I made guitar picks.
Yeah. Oh, guitar picks are so good.
Yeah. I made guitar picks.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, but they're
one.
good. They're good. I need to like do something else. Like they need like their next 2.0.
Okay.
But they're good. They just
what
have like
about
my
them
name.
needs to change?
I think they're easy to like lose, like or like they're like there's something about it where like you just kind of get it and you don't take an action. Like this, I see.
Can you put a grommet in a guitar pick, or does it fuck up the sound?
What's a grommet?
It's like a hole, like a little metal hole.
Oh, probably, but I don't actually need to play the guitar pick. I'm just like handing them out.
Right. But if you played it as like, if you were to be like, oh, you could put this on a necklace or like on your keychain, and then you would always have a guitar pick, and then people are like carrying around your name on their keys.
That would be cool. Yeah. The guitar pick I think is a good. They're easy to carry around also, and then they are nice because I can use them to play the guitar, and then I can throw it out into the audience
like a drumstick, only personalized.
Well, I remember my mom is obsessed with the singer Rick Springfield.
I love Rick Springfield.
Rick Springfield is amazing.
Yeah.
And for anybody that doesn't know, he's the one who sings Jesse's Girl.
Yeah.
And she took us to, when I was in 8th grade, she took us to like the California, like something state fair in like,
the state fair that goes like up and down the coast, basically.
Yeah,
they do it all.
And he was playing there, and we went early to like watch the whole show because she's obsessed, and she doesn't like when we say she's obsessed, but she's obsessed, maybe addicted.
We all need someone.
Yeah.
To iconized.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so we went and we saw them setting up the stage, which I was like totally enthralled. I was like watching them do everything, put the guitars in the right place. And then what I noticed is that they had the microphone stand, they put duct tape, and then they taped these picks to the microphone stand. And I was instantly like, I'm doing that. So then he throws the picks out. So then every song he throws a pick.
I love it.
And then this is what the benefit of having a kind of, you know, not to call him a one-hit wonder, but like having a one-hit wonder who's like 30 years later, you know,
Sure.
and he's at the state fair and he comes out into the audience and he climbs over the chairs and he ends up right next to my mom and me and my siblings.
God, your mother must have died.
Well, she froze. Because this is like her college crush, like whatever. And now my mom's like, I don't know, 45 or 50 or whatever. And she's just like, oh my God. And so my sister like took my mom's hand and like put it on his thigh.
Wing woman.
Yeah. Like,
oh boy.
And like just put it on like his knee or his thigh or whatever. And she was just like, oh my gosh. And then what I did, I remembered that they had the guitar picks on the microphone stand, but they also put them on the back of the guitar, and I took one. So then I had a Rick Springfield pick.
Do you still have it?
I must.
You must.
But then that Christmas, my mom made me my own picks, or she like ordered them online, and they said Ben Hawes with a shooting star.
I'm dead.
Isn't that so nice?
Beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
Absolutely gorgeous.
Because my mom just noticed like how much
it affects.
So I
you.
really like merch.
Hello, we all want merch.
I love it.
I mean, having your own merch is amazing.
And some people just never think about.
Oh, I have stickers in my bag right now.
Oh, you do?
Well, this was my new thing. Was like I didn't want. People love movies.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so embarrassing that I'm like reaching into my bag this whole time. People don't want a little piece of paper to carry around.
Oh my gosh,
so
I have
made
to wear this.
Score stickers.
That's brilliant.
And
well, I'm going to a show tonight. I'll wear it, and then people will be like, "What's
great.
that?"
Well, that's the thing too is I didn't put the location on it. I think
Well,
there's a world where I could
creating-
like get a QR code together, but I kind of don't want to because I'm like maybe it's cooler.
Maybe people
to
just be like, "What is that?"
I should be wearing one too. Hello.
Yeah.
But it's kind of lame to wear your own.
It's
merch.
election season.
I'll just put one here for.
Oh,
like,
perfect.
For the moment.
Yeah.
It'll come off.
Yeah. No. No, just buy a new one. Don't worry.
Sorry.
This episode of Life in Bold is brought to you by staying awake on a red-eye flight. You think you're taking a red-eye and you have to sleep? Well, guess what? If you stay awake, it's really fun because you get to watch other people sleep, you get to work on writing your own musical comedy, and you get to go on the internet and look at TikTok videos. It's extremely fun. So next time you take a red-eye, make sure you stay awake, and it'll be really, really, really fun. Thank you so much. Now on to Emmy.
This episode of Life in Bold is brought to you by Hans Zimmer. You may think that all movie scores are made alike and that it is just the same 10 old white dudes making music for every movie that you've ever watched. And that is mostly true, except when you think about Hans Zimmer. Hans Zimmer has huge range. He can do everything from in Dune 2 to the score to Thelma and Louise. If you want more Hans Zimmer in your life, come to Score at Caveat on 7/31, Wednesday, July 31st. Now, back to the show.
That was so good.
Gosh,
no, but we should really talk about getting people to shows. Because what do you do? Like, what is your strategy? Here's a question. What have you learned?
What have I learned?
About getting people to a show in the last couple years?
Timing is important.
Timing of the show?
Both timing of the show and season.
Yeah.
Day of the week. I am like a Wednesday, Thursday audience person.
That's really good.
I have a large audience in Brooklyn. So if I'm having a show, it cannot be at 9:30 in the city.
Yeah.
They will not come.
Yeah.
The best way to get someone to a show is with a personal fucking text message.
Yeah.
That cannot have a generic. It has to be specifically catered to them.
Yeah.
Like, I know you love this line from the Birdcage about gum. I'm going to say it. Like, it's ridiculous. But I don't really have time for that anymore. So now prayer.
Just praying?
Just praying.
Yeah.
Literally. Every morning when I meditate, I'm like, may my show sell out without me having to sell my soul. Like,
I had an easy time. I had a show. Do you know Poppy J. Snacks, the comedian?
No, but
you
I
love his name.
Clearly should. Why don't I know that?
I don't know. He's new to New York in the last year or so.
Okay.
But he's just started producing shows, and so he he has been producing shows and had me headline one of his shows at Stonewall.
Hello.
And
I remember that show now.
Yeah.
I remember you talking about that show.
And I had the easiest time getting people there.
Wow. See, Stonewall rules, though.
Yeah.
I feel like Stonewall,
well,
it's just
I did a show
perfection.
last November where I was a 30-minute set in a lineup of 4 people who did 30-minute sets. But it wasn't all comedy either. It was like some music, some this, whatever.
A little more variety.
And it was at the Triad Theater, which is kind of Upper West Side.
Okay, yeah.
It's a, it's I don't know. It's just a theater that like not everybody knows.
Okay.
And I had it was like pulling teeth to get like 12 people to come.
I know.
Not that, I mean, the 12 people that came were very wonderful and everything, but like, it was just really like, I would tell people and they'd be like, oh, sorry, like I have a wedding, or sorry, I have this or whatever.
Of course.
But then I was so surprised because I sent people a personal text message, which I also realized is like the only way to do it.
Yeah.
It's good to have the post to like follow up and remind them. Like when you post about it, my show's coming up. Like there might be someone who's like, I want to come.
Yeah.
Or there might be someone who's like, oh yeah, Ben's show is Friday or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I had the easiest time getting people to come to. It was like Stonewall. I think it was a Tuesday at 7:30, and I was like, which I think is like I'm going to a show at 6:30 today at Stonewall with Jimmy.
Jimmy,
Jimmy's the star.
I love you.
Yeah,
Jimmy,
we love
I
you, Jimmy. But
I mean, I love my audience, and I've been trying to come up with a name for my audience because I think that's there's 2 contenders right now, so maybe you can weigh in.
Okay.
Scorekeepers, which is really good.
Yeah.
Or Scorchers.
Oh yeah. Okay. For me, I like Scorekeepers.
I like Scorekeepers too.
I like them both. But
I kind of honor,
is its own word.
Yeah. I also I honor that like the audience actually keeps score.
Yes.
Yeah. The audience keeps score.
Wait, that would be a good title for your book.
The audience keeps score.
The
book
body
that
keeps
I'm
score.
writing.
Yeah,
of course the body keeps score.
Well, you should say the audience keeps score, and then it would be like all about like your show and the audience and movies and everything.
Audience
like that.
keeps the score.
Would you ever write a book?
Yes. The title of my book. I really want to write a book.
Yeah.
I'm brewing it. There is nothing about it that's on paper right now except for the title.
Yeah.
And it is a combination of like personal essays and life hacks.
Oh, cool. I like that.
Because I'm actually a person who I give a lot of advice. I wrote an advice column for a number of years called That's Dumb and You're Not.
Oh my God, that's a good title too.
Thank you very much.
You have a talent for titling things.
Yeah, but the title of my book is More is More.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Don't take it, anybody.
Nobody can take it.
I know.
Yeah.
But it's a hodgepodge of things. And also my older sister Mary happens to be like a very skilled writer.
Yeah.
She also writes personal essays sort of format. So I hope she writes her book so that then I can write one, because I can't write one first. It will be embarrassing.
For her or for you?
For both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, mostly for me.
Yeah.
Because she's like really, really skilled.
Yeah.
And I need to be mine needs to be like a memoir, basically.
Yeah.
So I need to be a little more famous.
I have a book title idea as
Tell
well.
me. Let's hear
And
it.
it comes from my own being a picky eater.
Oh.
And being a musical comedian who is looking for love.
Is it just picky bitch or?
No, it should be. But picky bitch sounds too close to piggy bitch.
Oh.
And I don't like that as much.
No.
But it's called, and I'll preface it by saying every time I say it,
Okay.
people don't get it.
Okay,
And
let's see
then
if I get it.
when
Don't
I
say
say
anything
this, when I say the subtitle, then they get it.
Okay, but I want to be tested.
Okay.
Let's go.
Does anybody want my pickle?
Okay. I love that title.
Tales of a picky eater looking for love.
I don't even think you need it. No. I
No,
think it's
just does anybody want my pickle? Okay,
Yeah.
so then in the
I
context
love that
helped.
title.
Yeah, because sometimes I'll be like, I'll just tell people I have an idea for my book, and I'll be like, does anybody want my pickle? And they're like, okay, what does it mean? But I think it has to be like, I'll be on TV explaining it, like, oh, I'm a picky eater, like whatever.
Yeah, you'll be on TV explaining it. You don't need a subtitle.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I love the title though.
I love.
Does anybody want my pickle? Because it's like
perfect.
It's like the picky eater. Like I don't want my pickle. I don't want to put my pickle. But then it's also like looking for love. Like, does anybody want my pickle?
No. I'm
get it.
telling you.
Yeah.
Do not. Whoever needs.
Don't
that
over-explain it. Yeah.
Read the book.
Yeah. Just read the book and you'll get into it. And I would love if it was essays too.
I mean, everything is an essay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Well, I
all have a thesis.
I feel like a lot of people come out with like a memoir and then they come out with like a book of essays.
Interesting. That's true.
But it could be like a
I'll need 2
memoir.
books.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So what would your second one be called? That's too much pressure.
No, I think that's great.
It's a nice challenge.
Yeah. My second book Maybe it's just more is more is more.
More is more.
No, more is more.
More is more.
More is more.
Yeah. Part more.
Part more.
Here's a little more.
Part more.
Yeah. I like that. But more is a good title.
More is more. It's just the truth.
And it's controversial.
It's just the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's always going to be people that are like, no, less is more. And then you get to go on Fox News and defend yourself.
Yeah. More is more.
And I love that title.
Yeah.
And it's a life hack.
I look, I am more.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be less is more. I'm never going to walk into any room and they're going to be like,
yeah.
Thank God she took off that extra pair of earrings.
No. Do you ever get told by people in life or in performance that you're like too much?
I don't know if they say it out loud.
Yeah.
Not anybody that I'm friends with.
Yeah.
For sure.
Right.
Not anybody.
But no one's ever
an idiot, perhaps.
People, yeah, maybe an idiot would say
perhaps
that.
An idiot would call me too much. I don't know. It's been so long since I allowed that bullshit to be a part of my life. I do think there were a lot of men in my life who didn't know what to do about my largesse.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's not right for me. You know what I mean?
No, that's not right for you.
It's fine.
Are you dating right now?
Yeah, I have a very serious boyfriend named George.
You do?
Yeah, I've been dating George for
him.
6 years.
Oh, that's great.
Gasp. You must have seen him at Score.
I must have seen him.
He has only ever missed 2 scores.
Wow.
One of which was when we first started dating, and I was afraid that I would be too much more is more.
Yeah.
And so I told him he couldn't come.
That's got to be a personal essay.
I know, right?
That's got to be one of your essays.
When I told him he couldn't come.
And then what was the second time?
The second time he was working in Iceland.
Oh, well, that's a good excuse.
Summer.
Yeah.
He's a landscape architect, and he was doing trail restoration in
Wow.
Iceland. He's cool.
And he didn't fly back for it.
He didn't, which is good.
Yeah.
That would have been too much pressure.
But does he help you with? Does he inspire you and help you with your ideas and stuff like that, or is he just like a big supporter?
He's a huge supporter.
Yeah.
He's creative, but he's a social introvert.
Yeah.
So he's really good at talking to people, but he's not very like in your face.
Yeah.
He almost always has to bring whatever prop I forgot, or whatever wig I forgot, or whatever.
That's the benefit.
He's the one that brings me the milkshake for There Will Be Blood.
Yeah.
I'm not asking anybody else to bring me a fresh milkshake.
Yeah.
Who will do it?
That sounds great.
He's wonderful.
I love that. I was just talking to I just sent my friend an email because she's just been really busy. I have a friend who just had a baby, and we just haven't been talking every day the same way that we used to. She has a baby, and I just sent her an email with just some updates about my life. I was like, for when you have time,
I love that.
I just feel like I want to tell you these things about me, and I was like, but you don't have to reply, whatever.
Yeah.
And one of the things was I feel like I'm finally getting to a place where I'm like, okay, I got to be dating. I got to get out there. And it's not for any other reason than just I'm starting to feel like it would be fun.
That's the best reason to date.
Yeah. Because I don't wake up in the middle of the night and feel lonely. I'm not like, oh my God,
great.
I'm not like, oh my God, I need somebody or whatever. But
that's hard. It's hard for some people not to feel like that for years.
I know. I'm like the opposite because I had a relationship in college that was made me all jaded, and then it lasted my whole 20s. Not the relationship, but the jadedness.
Yeah.
And so now that I'm 32, I'm like, okay, I'm a catch.
100%.
Don't you think?
Zero doubts.
Yeah.
I'm just sad that you don't want your own pickle because everybody else does.
I do want my own pickle.
Good. Oh, okay, great.
Yeah, I have my own pickle all the time.
Great. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Of course. Sauerkraut, whatever it is.
Yeah, but it would be nice if somebody else wanted my pickle.
I mean, I think
they
people
probably do,
but you have to
it goes over my head.
I think it's easy to have sex.
Yeah.
It is easy to have sex.
Yeah.
And having an intimate relationship with someone or dating is actually still different in my mind. But you're also in the world of New York gays.
I know.
Lots of gays actually.
Yeah.
Gays all over.
Yeah.
Are just there's no date to your date,
yeah.
Or there's a relationship and there's fucking.
Yeah.
But I don't know because I can't really talk to what that experience
No,
is.
I know. I feel like I'm probably looking for something pretty serious or kind of dependable or kind of not so casual because whenever I go
human touch.
Whenever I go on a date and it ends up back at a place or whatever, and I just the next day I'm just I really wish I had more of a connection with the person before more happened.
Sure.
And I feel like that's pretty normal, whereas and because I've said this a few times on the podcast, and people are like, no, that's normal. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I really feel like I've learned that, like, that's what people are looking for.
Dude.
You know?
Turn me on is not, it's just not yo dick.
So what do you think is your message to people when they're watching a score? That's what I want to know.
Message.
Like, what do you hope people feel? What do you hope they tell their friends? Like, what do you hope they
tell their friends that they actually have to come, and that they're going to start putting it on their Google Calendar and like sharing it with their network.
Yeah.
Visible Google invite.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe that's what I need to do. There was a time where I was like, I'll send you the Google invite.
Yeah. I do that sometimes.
Right. It's good because people just forget.
Because then you can also like send an email to all the people who have said yes.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow.
It's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that later. Put it on my list.
Yeah.
Weird is great.
Yeah.
That's the message.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, be weird.
Yeah.
Be a freak.
Yeah.
Be a freak. If you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a lesson you've had to learn? Like, is that hard? Was that hard for you to learn in life?
I don't know.
Being weird is good.
I think I always. My sisters were my first like weirdness ambassadors.
Yeah.
And so the best times of my life are weird.
Hey, that's another name for your fanhood.
Oh.
The weirdness ambassadors.
The weirdness ambassadors. Well, yeah. Could be. You know, I've got all kinds of audiences. There's not just one.
Yeah.
You know, I have all kinds of audiences.
Right.
But like the best times of my life were weird. So there wasn't that. But thinking that weird was commercial is like I'm still not convinced.
Yeah.
And I'd really like it to be. I mean, like Cola Scola, thank you. You know, because like weird is commercial.
Cool.
I mean, like there are pioneers among us.
Yeah.
Even Joe Firestone, like weird is commercial.
Yeah.
I hope they're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't know how much money they're making, but
hopefully it's a lot.
Like weird as capital. Like it just really needs a place. And I also think there was something special about dancing, like the weirdness of my dancing. You know, like every once in a while I do a clean turn, but most of the time it's like it's just out there. There's like a cartwheel, there's like a weird drop roll. And I was a dancer as a child.
Yeah.
And I really did feel like my body was wrong, especially when I grew huge. I mean, whatever. Like I'm very lucky. I have like a low metabolism and long legs. Like I thank you, Mom. But like, I do think not being worried about what your body is doing.
Yeah.
While you're being seen.
Yeah.
Is really powerful for
me.
And,
yeah.
And even being like, I mean, I think I look great in a leotard, but also just being like, I don't have a six pack. I do weird stuff. I put on mustaches. I like fuck up my face.
Yeah.
And like am gross and like
that
kind of simulates sex on stage sometimes. It's really bizarre. And
so
wear a nude bodysuit. Like it's just like out there, and I love that. Oh, also consensual dance team. Like when I had been doing score before I met them.
Yeah.
But like when I met them, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You are, speaking of weirdness ambassadors, like for sure, really good.
I'm loving what you're saying because I think we all think so much about how we're being seen.
Dance like no one's watching.
Literally.
Everyone is watching.
Yeah.
And that's the best part.
I think, well, I've always, it's funny with that quote, I've always been like, why would I dance if nobody was watching? I love dancing when people are watching.
I dance alone all
the time. But like, I think even for myself, like being on stage with my guitar and being in a jacket or pants or my hair or even on this podcast, I had to get more comfortable just like being on camera and like I'm sitting there on my computer editing and I'm like touching my face and picking my nose and shaking my leg and everything. But I'm like, I'm getting better at both not caring and also just looking how I want to look on camera and like just like kind of getting used to everything. Yes. But I think that's a really strong message. Like, and I think the thing that I've learned about comedy in my own journey is like you can teach those lessons just by being who you are, and you can just get up on stage and do that thing. You don't have to say, and I hope you learned tonight that thesis. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and I do get that from watching you. That like you're not afraid to look silly or like but you're also not afraid to do what you're good at. Yeah. Like a nice clean turn. You're like, hey, I know this. Yeah. Yeah.
Straighten out that leg. Point that toe.
Yeah.
You know, make Donna Marie Corey proud.
How long did you do dance? Was it like your whole childhood?
I did so jazz was like definitely my thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like into musical theater, so that was like they didn't, there weren't like studios teaching musical theater dance like there are here in New York.
Right.
But like, it was like jazz was kind of the way.
Yeah.
I was really into like Fosse and and I did take ballet. I
Yeah.
kind of like ballet started creeping me out because I wasn't body type. Like I didn't feel that was the first one. That was like the first form where I was like, oh, I don't fit here anymore.
And I feel like dance is so ripe for that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like your body, how your body looks and feels and is just matters so much.
Yeah. So I have like, it's interesting because I think like I'll go to a class and like the teacher will know like, you know how to point your toe. Like, don't give me that bullshit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm like, whew, I'm mostly here to watch, but I really like it. Like I still go to classes at like Broadway Dance Center.
Yeah.
And even their like beginner classes in New York City, you're just like, you know what? A wink and a prayer. You just try to stay courageous enough to not leave.
I love going to dance classes, but I don't do like the really serious ones. I do
those
like
ones are serious.
Kind of like a dance cardio, like Zumba kind of
Hell
class.
yeah, let's talk about dance cardio because I love dance cardio.
I loved going. So I used to work at ClassPass.
Oh my god, I love ClassPass.
I worked there
I never knew
for
that.
5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and basically we had like unlimited access to like studio fitness in New York City.
Studio fitness.
Yeah, and I would go to like cycling classes and dance classes and like yoga classes. It was really a specific like time in my this 5 years between 22 and 27 basically.
Amazing.
Like and so we would like go after work. Like friends of mine at work would like, oh, do you want to go to? Do you remember like there was that place called Banana Skirt? Did you ever hear of them?
No.
They did like
They did
what do they call it? Ratchet Zumba.
Oh my gosh, that's like 305's twerk out.
Yeah. I love 305 too, but I think they closed.
Well, let me tell you.
Oh.
Sadie, I hope you're listening. So they had to close a bunch of their studios post-pandemic.
Yeah.
And then they were doing pop-ups at Equinox. So they had a partnership with Equinox. But now, drum roll, they have a fucking Williamsburg studio.
They do now?
Their first one in Brooklyn. Yeah,
Is it open?
Yes.
We should go.
And summer sale is still happening until the 31st. You can get $26 classes, which is still really expensive, but it's $10
but it's
off.
like an hour of entertainment.
It's an hour of entertainment, live DJ, live light show.
We should go.
I'm gonna send this to you guys. It's so good.
Yeah.
We should totally go.
We should. I love it.
Love it.
I'm not the most like beautiful dancer, but I am the most beautiful dancer in my soul.
The twerk out.
Yeah.
That's and I think that they actually do an incredible job with body positivity.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I love going.
They just are the bomb.
Well, I just feel like I remember it was my first class after like the whole pandemic and everything, and I was like, I know that when I'm dancing, I have fun and my heart gets pumping and I'm loving it. I sweat. The next day I'm sore. I was like, I gotta go. And I looked up 305 and I went. And I was in the class and I can't remember who the teacher was, but we were dancing and she just goes, now shake your titties.
Yeah.
And I did. I was like,
yes.
And I like literally like felt so into myself in that moment. And I was like addicted to it. And I was like, I gotta keep coming back.
The lighting too. It's like they know, they're like, yes, we have mirrors, but we're gonna help you.
Yeah. And like even
they're
like
gonna help you.
I know a lot of times I'm also the only man or like one of the only men in the class.
They have so many more men now.
Yeah.
They have all
like,
kinds of men.
And sometimes I don't feel as agile as I want to be, which is why I go to the dance class.
Totally.
And so sometimes they'll be like, everybody, like they said something like, we were dancing and doing something, and they were counting down like 10, 9, and I was counting loud, and because I love it. And they were like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Ben." And they were like, "Everybody, bring the same energy that Ben's bringing." And it's just like so fun, and like it is body positive, and it's like
so good.
It's like because I've been so into. As a person, just like I gained a lot of weight in the pandemic, and like before that I was working at ClassPass and I was doing fitness and everything, and then I lived in this apartment in the pandemic and like didn't leave a ton and like was ordering food and stuff, and like I just kind of lost like my ability to just do things with my body and be agile and stuff. So I've started going to the gym more and I'm like doing this and I'm doing that, and it's like I just love my fitness goal being what you're talking about, which is just like have fun, do the weird thing, don't be too worried about how you're perceived, just have fun. That means a lot. That's like, a really good lesson.
It's really, really good.
Okay.
I can't like do the classes where I'm like, this is about getting a six pack.
Now do this. Yeah, right.
So they also have a studio at Columbus Circle.
Yeah.
But
Williamsburg is right there.
Really easy access.
What stop is it off of?
I think it's Bedford.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shut up.
I haven't been there yet,
that.
so we should go together. Let's go pop our cherry. I also follow Angela Timber. Do you know who that is?
Oh, no, I don't know who that is.
Angela Timber, it's a little more of a femme scene for sure, but she does the same kind of like accessible, theatrical, body positive, playful dance classes.
I love playful.
And then, Ben, do you know about the line dancing that happens around the corner from your house?
No, and you said line dancing, and I was like, it's around the corner?
Honey.
Okay, what's happening?
It's at Sly Fox. It's at the Ukrainian place, like 2 blocks from here.
And so it's a class?
It is a class, and then there's also like a section where like there's like basically like you call a line dance, right? So like there are dances that people know, and you play those songs and people know those dances, but you always learn 2 dances in the class.
Oh, that's really fun.
Tenaya is amazing.
Yeah.
It is a very queer scene. It is a fabulous fucking scene.
Wow.
And it's kind of hard to get into, but I'll send you the link.
Send me the link.
They have like a new, like you can register beforehand.
So you're going to be like my new dance friend.
I fucking hope so.
Yeah, because I love dancing.
100%.
I just love dancing. And I love also, is line dancing, is it like country music?
It's a mix.
Is like everything?
Like sometimes you learn something that's on like the top 10, like, you know, country music. Yeah. And then sometimes you learn something to Fleetwood Mac.
Well, that's great.
It's
right around the corner.
It's you're like in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I know. Okay? See, why am I not taking advantage of that?
We're going to make it happen. And then the last thing I want to tell you about, because I'm obviously like very much on my high horse about my message, is this guy named, I think that it's Alec Cohen. Alec, if I'm misremembering your last name, I'm so sorry. Alec Cohen was introduced to me by Sohrab. He's a comedian.
Okay.
What is his last name? Oh my God, I'm blanking. This guy named Alec.
Yeah.
Super funny.
Yeah.
Great young choreographer.
Yeah.
Teaches a class called Intro to Pop Star Dance. And it is like really entry level.
Yeah.
It is the same concept of like, you're going to look in the mirror and you're going to ooze sexuality, and I'm going to fuck up the lights, and the choreo is going to be very approachable. Yeah. And it's probably only going to be 32 counts. Yeah. And we're going to be done.
Yeah.
And the warm up is like,
I need to
so
go to
weird
this.
And out there. And when I went to it at, where did I go to it? Mark Morris? Whatever space he was in the first time I went there. He was like, there's a bag of edibles on the piano over there if anyone just needs to take the edge off.
Yeah.
Not that you need to do that.
Yeah.
But so now he's like toggling back and forth between teaching it in LA and here.
Good
so
for
you
him.
got to follow his.
Okay, I need to follow his handle. You're gonna tell me
Intro to Pop Star Dance.
That's
Alec Cohen.
That sounds so good.
That's like a real. Like you don't even haven't ever needed to set into a studio.
Because I want to be a pop star.
Yes.
And all I know so far is the Taylor Swift.
Which it's a perfect place to start.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's approachable.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Well, you have been just a wonderful,
oh my gosh, Ben, what a
wonderful
treat.
podcast guest.
Oh.
Can you tell the people where they can find you, and if they need to buy a ticket to your show, which you do need to buy a ticket to the show.
Buy the live stream, even if you can't come.
Yeah, the live stream is really good.
Yeah. Okay, so I am the Emmy Harrington on Instagram, and everything's linked up there. Yeah. You can also go to my website, which is just emmyharrington.com,
sure
if you want to poke around and get find out what's really going on with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow you on Instagram.
Follow me on Instagram. And we have an amazing lineup on the 31st. Jimmy Schatz is hosting.
Yeah.
Kayla Berry's producing.
Yeah.
Glow
Butler.
Butler.
What are some movies that are being covered?
Good question. Glow Butler is doing The Birdcage. Veronica Garza is doing Cruel Intentions.
Oh, my God.
Iconic.
That's going to be my favorite.
Yeah. They are really excited about it. I was like, this is a really good sign. Katie Hartman and David Carl are doing Backdraft, and the last film in the lineup is Stepmom, and that is being done by, oh my God, Edson Montenegro, who is so good. Yes. So damn funny. They're going to kill.
So excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this show.
Surprise and delights.
I'm so excited to show up.
Yeah.
And be there and celebrate your message and your amazing show. It's just an institution.
My pleasure to have you. Yeah. To have you as a scorekeeper is an honor.
Yes, I'm a scorekeeper.
And you're going to be on the show in October.
Oh, really?
October 1st.
I would love to do that.
Done.
I think I would do a song.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah. I would do like a little song, I think. I was thinking about it.
Fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on.
It is my pleasure.
Everybody, I hope you loved this episode. I know that you did love this episode. Emmy Harrington, everybody, has been an amazing podcast
I love you all.
You can find this podcast on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube
baby.
Life in Bold Pod. And you can follow me, your sexy host, on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube at Laugh with Ben.
Show this human you want their pickle.
Yes.
Let's go.
You want my pickle? Follow me on Instagram.
Boom.
Thank you so much. And don't forget
Score.
to live your life in
bold.
bold.
God, I'm so sorry.
No, people.
Are you sure you don't want to do that again?
It's a little prank that I do to everybody at the end. Thank you so much for watching. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.